These exotic primary buffs are getting ridiculous. This background gameplay is from a 3-man run of the first encounter of the Vow of the Disciple raid, and I believe the pocket laser you see me wielding is one of the strongest and most slept on weapons in the entire sandbox. Don't believe me? Stay tuned, as I blow your mind with yet another build that has me questioning my appetite for crayons. These intro clips, as well as much of the gameplay seen throughout the video, were captured live at twitch.tv/PixarDonks. Come stop by to see how I create these videos live. What's up guys, my name is PixarDonks and welcome to the channel. I play Destiny 2 on Xbox, and my goal with this channel is to provide you guys with creative builds, tips specific to my fellow console gamers, as well as cover niche topics I haven't seen anyone else cover. I hope to provide a unique take on Destiny 2 from the point of view of a console player, as I feel as though most content creators within the community are currently located on PC. I play quite a bit of Destiny and follow the game closely, so I'll try my best to make sure any content here will be on topics I have yet to be seen covered elsewhere. That's it for the intro. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and let's hop into the video. Solar 3.0 is coming later this year, and many of the Solar exotic primaries are already extremely strong in the sandbox thanks to the recent 40% buff. Sunshot, Teraba, and of course, Tommy's Matchbook have all emerged as absolute monsters, but one weapon in particular has been beaming its way to the top of my radar. When combined with the mechaneer's tricksleeves, as well as a few clever armor mods, the Devil's Ruin sidearm will leave you wondering why you even bothered equipping a power weapon. In today's video, I will begin by covering the weapons used in this build, as well as the destination or activity each can be earned through upon completion. Moving on, I will cover the subclass options, stat distribution, and armor mods you should be on the lookout for when crafting this build for yourself. Finally, I will let some background gameplay of myself using this build play out, as I discuss any synergies and tips you should be on the lookout for. Let's hop into the build. Let's take a look at our Solar Hunter build. This build will revolve around the exotic sidearm, the Devil's Ruin, the exotic gauntlets, the mechaneer's tricksleeves, as well as some crazy stacking damage buffs. Starting with our kinetic weapon of choice, you guys have seen this one before, but it's just too good to take off. We have the legendary grenade launcher, the Pardon Our Dust. The key perk here is auto-loading holster, as it synergizes incredibly well with our exotic weapon and one of our armor mods, and blinding grenades are a simply S-tier choice in any situation. This weapon was added in the 30th anniversary pack and can be earned through Xur's treasure hoard on Eternity. Our solar energy weapon and exotic of choice, the Devil's Ruin, is a pretty unique weapon in that it is the only exotic energy sidearm, meaning it is the only sidearm that received the recent 40% exotic primary buff and can also benefit from Font of Might. Its exotic perks work in tandem, as holding down the trigger will not only refill its magazine thanks to pyrogenesis, but also consume the magazine into a laser beam that staggers unstoppable champions thanks to Close the Gap. Even without any damage mods, I think this is a weapon easily worth giving a go, especially if you find yourself low on ammo and in desperate need of damage. Legendary campaign Savathûn boss fight. But this build takes it to levels that compete with many power weapons. Devil's Ruin can be purchased from the Monument to Lost Lights in the Shadowkeep tab in the tower. Moving on to our power weapon of choice, this can really be anything you want, although if you wanted something meta that fits within the build, a solar linear or solar rocket works nicely. This legendary linear fusion rifle, the Cataclysmic, comes with damage perks such as Focus Fury and drops from the first and second encounters of the Vow of the Disciple raid. Finally, our exotic gauntlets of choice, the mechaneer's tricksleeves, come with the exotic perk Spring-Loaded Mounting, which improves sidearm ready and reload speed, as well as doubles their damage when swapped to while critically wounded. While talking about damage increases in Destiny, you often hear numbers such as 110, 125, or 140% more damage. So when an exotic offers up 200% more damage, you definitely have my attention. These gauntlets can be found as a random world drop, earned through completion of a solo master or legend lost sector, or sold by Xur on the weekend. subclass of choice will be Middle Tree Solar Hunter, as the melee on this tree is easily the most consistent source of solar wells available. The Burning Edge, Playing with Fire, and Knife Trick all revolve around cycling your dodge and melee as much as possible, while Blade Barrage is tied for the fastest charging, damage dealing super in the game. Before covering armor mods, there are a few things to note about the stat distribution you should be targeting when running this build. As always, try and have at least 80 recovery and then spend the rest of your points on mobility. Our dodge and our melee are closely linked, so investing in uptime on your dodge sees returns on strength as well. Taking a look at our helmet, I have slotted both kinetic and harmonic siphon, as both our primary and special ammo weapons excel at getting multi-kills, while Font of Might will comprise one half of the damage mod combo. Moving on to our gauntlets and exotic of choice, I have set them to the solar energy type in order to slot impact induction, as we will be throwing our melee quite a lot, allowing us to simultaneously feed back into our grenade. Melee Wellmaker is our only source of solar wells when running this build. Our chest has been set to the void energy type in order to slot the mod surprise attack. This mod gives Devil's Ruin a 40% damage bonus when you pull out your sidearm while charged with light, synergizing extremely well with the Mechaneer's tricksleeves and comprising the second half of the damage mod combo. Sliding down to our legs, these have been set to the void energy type in order to slot insulation, lowering our dodge cooldown with every orb of power, as well as stacks on stacks, providing greater uptime on surprise attack. The most important mod here is sidearm holster. Pyrogenesis makes it so only one bullet needs to be loaded in order for a full beam to be fired, and essentially turns sidearm holster into full-blown autoloading holster. Finally, our cloak has been set to arc in order to slot the mod Swift Charge. This mod is how we will get charged with light while using this build, and I found it much more consistent than something like Elemental Charge. That is all the information you need to set up this build. I will now let some background footage from a 3-man clear of the acquisition encounter play out as I note some of the key points to notice when trying this build for yourself. The first tip here is to not focus on the damage buff provided by Mechaneer's tricksleeves too much. While testing this build, I often found myself attempting to get critically wounded in order to proc the perk and then dying before I could fire a shot. While it is true that if you are able to stack all 3 damage buffs, you should theoretically be able to hit crazy amounts of damage, you actually don't need that much damage pretty much ever. With just Font of Might, Surprise Attack, or a combination of both, you will have more than enough damage to cut down anything in your path. Let the tricksleeves buff happen organically, but when it does, make sure you take advantage as the insane time to kill can save your life. One of the tricky parts about running this build is making sure you swap to your sidearm at the right times. Every time you are charged with light, swapping to your sidearm will consume those stacks and load them into Devil's Ruin. Attempt to use these bullets before swapping off the weapon, as they will be lost upon doing so. Additionally, when you notice you are charged with light while holding your other weapon, try and create a solar well for yourself before swapping. This will allow you to stack both damage buffs quite easily, as long as you pick up the well before swapping over. Finally, don't be afraid to let loose as many supercharged shots as possible. This might sound obvious, but older players might remember when primary ammo was not infinite, and the Devil's Ruin was one of the few weapons in the game that you had to watch your ammo consumption. Break this bad habit as soon as possible, so that the next time you see a dreg, you won't hesitate to simply grip it and rip it. That's all for today's video. Thank you to everyone who made it to the end. I hope you found this guide useful, and I hope to see Guardians and Lucent Hive playing laser tag on Savathun's Throne World in the near future. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for any and all future content, and comment down below. What exotic primary is your favorite? Until next time, PixarDonks has left the building.